In today's video, I'm going to bring you through an amazing company called Obvi Health. They sell supplements and they're doing over $50 million per year. I'm going to bring you through their entire ad creative process, how they find creatives, how we also find winners, and how we get inspiration from these brands. And before we get going to the video, if you don't know who I am, my name is Brando. I actively work with 8-figure clients. This is just one of the clients that we typically manage. They're doing $40,000 in sales in a single day. This is just for you to know that I'm qualified to speak about the topic and that we are, the type of data that we have access to on a daily basis, okay? Now that we got the proof out of the way, let's get into the brand. I'm gonna first go through the funnel, break down some creative strategy, and then have a bunch of like ad spy, cool creative strategy tactics that you can start implementing right now to actually find winners and spenders on your ad accounts, okay? So first of all, who are they? They sell supplements. It's mostly weight loss. Let's take a look at their landing pages so we see where they are sending traffic to. And it seems like over 80% of their traffic is going to this page over here. Let's take a look at what this is. Let me close a couple tabs. And so lose on average of 30 pounds in 90 days. And it seems like this is kind of like their guarantee. I'm going to show you some ads. You see they have a 90-day money-back guarantee. And it's like a very well-structured, they're also promoting Black Friday, but it's a very well-structured ad. Not only ad, but also offer or frame. And so the landing page itself is pretty simple. There's a lot of before and afters. They have, us versus them sections. And it's also a bit zoomed in. So once I click claimed offer, this is, I guess, what really allows them to stand out. They're very transparent about their pricing. There's also an FAQ section here that says, are there hidden costs or subscriptions? No, what you see is what you pay for. There's no hidden subscriptions, no auto renewals, and there's a 90-day guarantee. So they probably have offers on the back end to push subscriptions, which they probably do have, but this is what they have. This is their winning offer. Save 30%. Save 35% and save 50%. Okay, so this is where they save the most. And so, of course, you can see the dollar. By the way, if you don't have dollars per serving, I highly recommend this because it makes the offer a no-brainer. Like for $1 a day or less than $1 a day, you can solve your problems, right? So this is very good framing. So this is overall the structure. If we go through checkout, it's very traditional and standard. It's add into cart, and it's going to bring me to the checkout page, which is very standard. Okay, so this is what you need to know about this. And that is it. I love what they're doing with their ads. I'm going to bring you through a couple of things, a couple of strategies that they're implementing and also that we're implementing to find winners at our agency, so that you can take advantage of it. But first of all, they are really good at diversification. They are diversifying their creatives. They're doing image ads. They're doing, they have 74% images and 25% video. This is actually a crazy proportion. So what we're actually going to do mostly in this video is go ahead and find ways to get inspo from these winning videos. Because what I use this tool for, Altria, it's a good tool. I use it to find inspiration from other brands. So I go in here, let's just say I'm Obvi, I'm the brand owner, I'm the creative strategist for Obvi Health. What I want to do to get inspiration for my next round of image ads is take a look at what my direct competitors are doing, which is why I like to use, Altria as a tool, but also take a look at what's happening with other indirect competitors, we can call them, or brands that are selling a different product or maybe selling a different pain point, right? But what I want to look for is ideally brands that share the same type of audience and age range and demographic. Because if we can find, right, if we have a brand that sells to 45-year-olds and I'm also selling to 45-year-olds, right, although the pain point and problem that we're solving and desire is different, we're still selling to the same person that probably is a similar, person. They were born the same year, right? You get the point. Similar cultural stuff, right? And so one thing that I like to do is I like to use Altria for finding the brands. And one other thing that you can do is you can just go in here and kind of ask it, it's a very simple question. I want to do some creative concept research and take inspo from indirect brands that sell different products, but to a shared audience, right? Assuming I am selling weight loss supplements, what other types of brands could I go after to take creative inspiration? And by the way, before I get into this, why do I choose to do this in the first place? I choose to do this because if we just look at direct competitors, we're just going to test creatives. They're just overly saturated that all of our competition is testing. So if I can find a creative concept that is really interesting from a competitor that is, once again, just indirect competitor, sharing the same audience, not the same offer, not the same desire, not the same product, but sharing the same audience, it's probably going to be less saturated and it's going to be a good effective test to blow up, right? And so let me just bring you through what we're doing here. I'm basically asking it, okay, I'm selling weight loss. What other brands that we can take a look? And the first choice is anti-aging brands, especially because there's transformation. You can also do transformations with weight loss. You can do transformations with anti-aging and beauty and skincare. So that is the first thing that I did. I went in here and kind of found Froya Organics. And, I love Atria, but the problem with Atria is it doesn't show you the engagement. So even if you filter by like longest running ad, right, and you filter by active, and you see these ads that have been running for 200 days, although they're like cool ads and you can probably test them regardless, but they're saying here that they've been running for 225 days, but this ad could have been running for 225 days but gotten zero, like maybe $1,000 in spend, which is not a good indication that it's a winner and that it's scalable. So what we want to do is like we want to go over here and use to like ad spy, right? This I did the same thing for Happy Mammoth, which is like I believe a supplement company, a supplement and brand. And you see here like this ad wasn't actually listed. If I go here and let's see if I can find them, Happy Mammoth. If I filter by longest running, I don't believe, unless I'm wrong, but I don't believe I saw that ad that I just showed you, which I'll show you again soon. Like these are not, they're definitely not there. So in some cases, Outshare it's not really useful for like the effectiveness of the ad. It doesn't mean anything that they're running for a long time. So I like to use Outshare to find concepts or sorry brands, and then ad spy tools like adspy.com to validate the effectiveness of that creative or that brand for a specific concept. So this is an example. In fact, if we go over here, there's like 500 likes, which is not too much, but it's proof of like engagement. And this is the type of ad that I could test probably for Obvi. So this is kind of like one cool way to just find the brand here and validate it over here so that we can find inspo, okay? And you can do the same thing. You see this is also kind of viral. It was a bit of a different kind of like, instead of faces, it's like the stomach area, the tummy area. You can do it with faces here again. So all of these have like pretty high engagement. They're doing decent, and they're like diversification things, right? You can probably test these concepts for your brand. Let's take a look at some other brands. Hims, I didn't do Hims. There's also Your Heights. I checked a bit of Your Heights. There's also another couple of tests. What is it called? I found a couple of winners here. This is definitely a winner, right? This is actually a very effective ad. 2,000 likes, 800 comments. One other thing that I like to do is read all of these comments because we can probably get inspiration and see maybe extra things that we can add to this ad. Especially if we find, let's see what it says here. I've been using this for 3 months and it's terrific. I've not only lost weight and still doing so, but my hair, skin, and nails are also very strong. There's 14 replies. This has 200 likes. We want to take a look at what's going on in this thread. If we can find opportunities to like find unique angles within the threads and comments, we'll go ahead and do that. It's an absolute no-brainer. And then we also want to study the entire funnel. Where are they sending people to? And why is this ad effective? What are the elements that make this ad effective? Probably this thing over here. There's like breaking news, right? It's a very simple organic image. So what we want to do is gather all of these learnings so that we can apply them for our brand. Okay, so is this the only way to find winners? No, you can also go on like Facebook groups or like in Reddit and do like your own research. We always want to do that. That's great. But this is kind of proven in front of you. So I think you would be kind of like stupid not to like at least test it on your ad account and try to see if it works for you. There's also other ad examples. For example, this one over here. This is for Anne's skincare blog. I'm not sure where I found this, but I think it's kind of like somewhere here. Yeah, Anne's skincare blog. If I click on them, they're like running so many ads, and so it's a very effective brand. Let's take a look. They're running 983 ads, which is a very good indication. They're also like very image ad focused, as you can see over here. The reason I'm choosing this is because I wanted to do a test and kind of like do a creative strategy video on image ads, because image ads are like fast to test and they can be very effective, and they can really also scale as much as video ads as well. And so I found this over here that has been 1.5 likes. It's been running for a while, I think, and this is the type of ad, and it's like a kind of a post with the product on the bottom. But you think you can basically take a look over here, right? And then the good thing about this tool is that you can also get insights on who they're targeting. They're going after United States. They're going after gender, male and female, etc., etc. And this is their landing page and where they're sending it to, right? It's a screenshot of it. So this is why we use AdSpy. It's very, very good for a creative strategy, as I said. Let's take a look at some other examples. This is also another brand in the skincare industry, and I really liked how they did one piece of creative, which has 3.4K likes, and it's 17 weeks old. Which isn't like super recent, but it's also not like last year. So ideally we try to find viral things that have like 2 week or 3 week or 4 week span, like 30 days to 60 days. It can also be successful. Like you can find things that are older for like other like verticals that maybe are not. For example, this is not even like weight loss right? Or I think it is tan removal. Yeah. So it's not weight loss, but it's like a before and after concept that is, probably going to work for also weight loss. But maybe I'm sure this concept has been replicated, but what I'm saying is that what if it hasn't, right? You would be one of the first ones to incorporate it within your industry and within your vertical. That's why we do this type of research, okay? Overall, it's really important to understand that at the end of the day, you can do all these tests, but the one thing that's really important is to scientifically understand why these ads are working. So have always an hypothesis of why things are working, and also hypothesize why things are not working. And that's where you have to do learnings. So when we do learnings for our brands, what I mean by learnings is essentially, let me just show you. We have a sheet called Creative Testing Tracker, which by the way, you can get with the link down below. And what we do is that we put all of our tests here into, let's just say we launched 3 concepts. This week so far we launched 3 concepts. We put them over here and we record every single aspect of this concept, including the editor name, the product name, the Asana task, the marketing angle, the creative concept, the awareness stage, the avatar, a link to the landing page, the copy. All these things are super important, including like high level KPIs of like spend, whether it's a loser or a winner. And then assuming this is a loser, right, it only spent $26 for, let's just say it spent $26. It's probably not even enough to do take an analysis on the hook rate, all these things, because $26 isn't really enough to make any judgment. So there's 2 things that you can do to do learnings. If it has spent like at least $100, $200, you can probably, see and have better data, because it's the more data you have, the more you spend, and then the more data you receive back, and you can make maybe more effective learnings. But if it just doesn't spend at all, the thing that you can do, other than doing the hypothesis and testing or setting the hypothesis before you start the concept, right? This should be done before. The other thing that you can do is apply learnings and just comparing basically your failed ads from your winning ads, right? You go and analyze your winning ads and you're like, okay, these winning ads have these 7 traits and this is why they're working. Maybe out of these 7 traits, 5 are actually true and 2 are just like what you think is true, but it's not. But at least you're making calculated decisions on just analysis. Of course, once again, all of your hypothesis and all of your learnings will not be true. You're not a robot. You're a human. You're human and you make mistakes. But if you can make like calculated assumptions, then you're like already 100 steps ahead compared to somebody that doesn't do these things. And so once again, we try to like analyze failed ads with winning ads, and then we try to make calculated new like A/B tests or like new iterations or new concepts along with like these assumptions. So for example, this is a test. Like we noticed that the winning ad, this one over here, this is the winning ad, for example, had the winning ad had a hook that ran above 50% or whatever, 60% hook rate, which is great. The hook was in the doctor showing up. Let's try to, the hook was with the doctor. I'm not sure what I wrote here. The hook was with the doctor, basically an authority. Let's try to emulate this exact same concept, but in a different way for our new test, right? So we're getting observations from like winning concepts and we're applying them to like our future tests, emulating and trying to understand what actually made this thing work in the first place so that we can try to remake it work for other types of ads or the same type of ad. So that is pretty much it. This concept over here, this is what I'm talking about here, like breaking down winners, right? If we can understand and break down winners, then it's easier for us to come up with new concepts or come up with winning new concepts. That's what I should say, because we understand the components that make something viral, work, shareable, all these other things, okay? And especially you can also do these things, by the way, by analyzing all of these ads that are not even yours. Like you can apply these learnings as well from other types of ads, gather all the information as much as possible, and then apply them for your own brand. This is literally the definition of creative strategy. Like spending time doing research, sure, but spending time breaking down winning ads, understanding what other creative concepts are working, and combining research with winning ad breakdowns, having hypotheses, doing learnings. This is the entire process of what actually makes a brand scale to $1 million+ a month. It's like effective creative strategy, effective creative concept research, and all these things that I just mentioned above, okay? And that is pretty much for this video. This is just one quick effective way that you can utilize to scale more effectively and be more effective with your creative strategy. Take a look at what other brands are doing. Go over here, use Ultra. Take a look at brands that are direct competitors, but also indirect competitors where they're selling a different solution. The goal here is to find concepts that are not saturated in the market or in your own vertical. In my case, it would be the obv vertical, so weight loss, right? And then validate the viralness and engagement of these ads using AdSpy, and then you can make your own conclusions. Also read a bunch of comments here. It's always very good. And There's a bunch of ways to do this. Also, TikTok is great to do these types of researches. Okay, that is it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be able to answer them. If you are a brand doing at least $100,000 a month and you want a growth partner to start working with you, be more effective on the creative strategy side, scale your ads, you know what to do. You can book in a call, and we can explore the opportunity of doing business together if we have capacity and if it's also a good fit. That is it for this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.